Hey everyone, welcome to another Training Tips with Drew. Oh wait, sorry, wrong channel. So welcome to
That's
another...
not a channel. It's not a real channel.
Maybe.
It's abandoned. I'm never doing it again.
We'll see about that. Welcome to another Training Tuesday here. So this week, the drill that we're doing, I got my buddy Drew with me here once again, is the return to center drill. This one's, it seems easy when you read it. However, as you'll see, it's a little bit tricky, or at least we had issues with it. So you've got 3 targets placed 5 yards apart. When you're doing it with pistol, you're 5 yards away. With the carbine, you are 15 yards away. But basically you have a mag of 10 and a mag of 15. You will start in the center, fire 5 rounds into the A zone, move to one direction or the other, shoot 5 rounds. On your way back to the other side, stop in the center, shoot 5 rounds. Other side, shoot 5 rounds. Back to the center, shoot 5 rounds. So in total, you're going through 25 rounds. Moving back and forth laterally across the bay.
With the reload.
With the reload in there as you're transitioning from one position to another. And it says to use a reduced A zone. We were just using the full A zone because it was going to be too tricky to try to mark them off. But anything outside of the A zone is a fail, just outright fail. Then obviously you're doing it for time. This one comes from Joe Santos, little Pino 1587 on Instagram, and then the 15-yard version, Average Joe's Range Day is who these are accredited to, so shout out to those guys. We're going to be using both. We're going to do it first with pistol a couple times, we'll do it with rifle a couple times, and then we'll see how we did. Really good cadence.
1909. Clean.
This one's clean. Got a really good cadence on those shots.
Clean.
Okay, so that was what time?
1909. Back. You missed the center.
Slight procedural
It's all right.
issue. So 1589, but kind of a fail. Is that one clean? This one's clean.
$17.7. Center. Center.
I definitely tried throwing it, just throwing them at it too. 1622 with the almost overrun.
Clean.
This gun is fast.
Damn, dude.
Shit. I keep doing that. At least I caught myself. 2567.
Okay. Ah!
$29.52.
$21.78.
I know for a fact there's some mics in there. I know for a fact there's some mics in there.
Oh, shit.
Probably about 30 seconds.
What was that?
I
30?
forgot to come out here,
It's all right.
so it was about 30 seconds. Okay, so obviously with pistol, things went a little bit more smooth, somewhat. And then rifle, we had some issues. Now, first time I ran it, I completely blew past that center position on my way back across the range. And then I also started with a 10-round mag instead of the 15-round mag. Doesn't really matter because the reload's happening in there anyway. However, when I blew past that center position, that was while I was in the middle of a reload. And you know, one of the things that I try to do is kind of debrief a stage, or like talk myself through a stage, how it went, why things maybe didn't go the way I wanted it to. So I'll maybe roll in the footage, but basically what I think, if I can extrapolate out, not that this is an excuse, but at least an explanation for me to work on something, is I was doing that reload as I was running back across range. And I think my brain was so focused on performing that reload smoothly and quickly that my brain stopped thinking about what the actual course of fire was. So I completely blew by, came back, and then just did all 10 rounds from that final position just to make up for that first one. So procedural fail on that one. I think the problem that I ran into, not that it's an excuse, but I think just self-diagnosing, I think my problem was I overran it while I was doing the reload.
Yeah.
And I think it was my brain just, oh, this is the task that I need to focus on.
Yeah.
And my brain stopped thinking about the actual procedure. And then the second time through with the pistol was way cleaner, and I also just was a little bit more aggressive with that trigger, ran it way faster, way cleaner. I just really, really like this little T-Sauce 2011 clone. It's a lot of fun to shoot. How was the pistol for you?
Pistol was good. I felt like my cadence was really good. Procedurally, everything went good. I ran it a couple times. The second time, I think I did it pretty quick on the first one, and then the second time I shaved like a second and a half off of it. So was just kind of, I mean, because it's so close, it's just as soon as I saw my reticle on some cardboard relatively centered, I just was sending them. So was able to keep a good cadence, and reloads went good, and yeah. So the carbine was a different story.
Carbine was a different story. So when we switched to carbine, I think my first run
was with your night fighter.
Was with my night fighter, and I had one round outside the A zone, so it was a fail. But it was reasonably fast. The reload went reasonably well. I did kind of overrun the center position and had to work my way back a little bit. Not as bad as the first time. But the thing is, as you move back, there's kind of that amount of care you have to put into each shot to make sure it goes where it needs to. And I just didn't do that enough and had one round go out. So I missed it by one shot to have a passing time. And then the second time I switched to my little modern commando build that I'm working on, that we're both working on. And man, the A1 style rear sight is not forgiving. And basically as soon as you shoot, that front sight is no longer in that aperture, and I just wanted to go way too fast. Like, the gun is really smooth shooting. So because the gun is so smooth shooting, it just makes me want to go faster. But running those irons, I really got to slow down. What about you for the rifle?
The rifle was okay. I mean, I'm still getting used to it. To be honest, I'm not as used to the AR platform. I mean, I've been shooting AKs for
You've been shooting a lot of AKs lately.
A lot of AKs, so, but I'm getting used to it. I really got to work on my reloads, fumbling around a little bit, kind of trying to figure out that. But I did find that, on the two outside targets, they were always clean, and the center targets was where I was either rushing it or kind of like not really getting set, and that was where I was always throwing Charlies in.
Yeah.
So I think the first one, fail on Charlies, second one fail on Charlies, but and had kind of a fumbly reload, but
yeah. But you did have the only pass with the carbine as well.
That's true. The last one I did,
clean.
it was slow, but it was a pass.
Yeah. Well, and again, going to what he said about the center targets being the ones where we had the most Charlies, i.e. the most fails, consistently, kind of no matter who it was.
Yeah, both of us.
Like again, this is where kind of thinking through the stage and kind of debriefing it, our extrapolation, and again, this may or may not be correct, but at least it's a working theory, is you're so focused on getting to that next position or doing the reload, and you're thinking through so much else, that center position you're kind of thinking almost as a gimme, and you're not giving it the attention it needs because you're focused on whatever the next thing is. So I think that's where we had the reason we had the most misses. If we had a camera on that center target, I would also assume it was on the middle, the second time you're at that center position. I don't think it's on the first 5. I don't think it's on the last 5. I would assume most of those misses are coming from the middle 5.
Yeah, from the passage across from one side to the other, where you have to stop in the middle, and you're wanting to get as quickly to the last stage as possible.
Exactly. So again, it's things like this, being able to work through what's actually happening so that you can identify that and progress and get better, is the value to things like this. Again, if I'm just coming out poking holes in paper, just running build drills every single time I'm out here, as fun as that is and as good as I'll get at build drills, I'm only ever going to be good at build drills. And when you start having to add movement into it, reloads into it, all these other things, it forces you to really hone those skills and those fundamentals that are going to pay dividends in the future, especially if you're doing USPSA type stuff, if you're doing or any competition stuff, if you're doing classes, anything like that. It's just going to help you out. Because I mean, how many times you've done USPSA a couple times, I've done USPSA a couple times. How many times do you plan out your stage? You're standing there ready to go, wherever your hands need to start at, the beep goes and all of your stage planning just goes completely out the window. Yeah. Or you get halfway through a stage, the reload's happening where you weren't expecting it to happen because you had to make up a couple shots here or there, and now it's like, okay, now this wasn't how it was supposed to happen. So getting to a point where you can do that unconsciously, go through the reloads unconsciously and all that, the better you're going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
So again, if you're interested in these decks of cards, I'll have a link to Drill Index down in the description of the video. I highly, highly recommend them. They sent me the deck of cards. Drew went out and bought them of it with his own money. So we are firm believers in the value that you can get out of these cards. Anything else that you want to add about this drill?
It was fun. I like doing drills where you get to move around.
Yeah.
I think it just adds another level of, movement and stress and task.
Yep.
That, not only do you have to pick where your shots are going, you have to make sure your feet aren't slipping and make sure you're grounded and,
Yeah, make sure you don't forget to shoot at a shooting position.
Yeah.
And, again, this is just a starting point. If you think 25 rounds is too much per drill, shoot 3 rounds in each position, shoot 2 rounds in each position. The whole point of these is to give you a starting point, and then you just match it to whatever your constraints are for the range that you're at, for the amount of money you can spend on ammo. Again, it just gives you an idea of something to begin with so that you can actually be making the most out of your range time. So anyway, with all that being said, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching. Let's train!